All right. This is only considered a quiz if you want to consider it a quiz, but I don't consider it a quiz, so I wouldn't look at that. If you've taken your graphic organizer out, it should look something like this. We've got our motives down the left side there, and then we've got our goals that drove us towards these particular motives. It should match up. Hopefully, you got a lot of these things to look at. Now, where it says quote and support, what you would probably want to do is just basically we're going to have some A, B, C, D, E sort of evidence stuff, so you can kind of look at which one do you think it would match with. So just take a gander over at your notes as you're going through this quick clip, and just put evidence A or B or wherever you think it should go as we go through. Let's take a look, and I think you'll be able to figure it out pretty quickly here. So here's evidence A. The majority of the raw materials were agricultural products produced on plantations. Plantation crops included tea, coffee, cotton, and jute. Another crop was opium. The British shipped opium to China and exchanged it for tea, which they sold in Britain. So, looking at this particular evidence, which one of the motives from your graphic organizer do you think this matches up with? Which one does it match up with, and why do you feel that way? Right, evidence B. This comes from Jules Ferry, who's Prime Minister of France in the late 1800s. He says, I repeat that the superior races have a right because they have a duty. They have the duty to civilize the inferior races. In the history of earlier centuries, these duties, gentlemen, have often been misunderstood, but in our time, I maintain that European nations acquit themselves with generosity, with grandeur, and with sincerity of this superior civilizing duty. Now, which of these motivations do you think that one is going to mostly match with, and what support do you have for that? What reasoning do you have for that? Evidence C. So this is coming from Heinrich von Treitschke, who is a German historian. He says, all great nations in the fullness of their strength have desired to set their mark upon barbarian lands. And those who fail to participate in this great rivalry will play a pitiable role in times to come. So that's a German historian talking about the pressures put on particular nations. So which of our motives do you think that is, and what support can you give for that? Evidence D. The Catholic faith and the Christian religion be exalted and everywhere increased and spread, that the health of souls be cared for, and that barbarous nations be overthrown and brought to the faith itself. I think that one's pretty straightforward. Which motive do you think that is, and what support do you have for that? Next up, evidence E. Also from Jules Ferry, Prime Minister of France. Nations are great in our times only by means of the activities which they develop. France is out to propagate this influence throughout the world and carry everyone that she can, her language, her customs, her flag, her arms, and her genius. A little trickier. Which motive do you think that one matches up with? Now, there's going to be one each on each of those. So go through your graphic organizer and see if you can figure out which one goes with which one, and then I'll give you a way to turn this in later on.